Everyone wants a piece of Labubu. And I do mean everyone. Quick, get water. Uh-oh, what's going on with this one? Time for Labubu to come out of her shell. And give us a great big smile. Now show us some teeth. Time for some brain worms. Maggots gotta eat too. It's what's inside that matters, so show off your big brain. An egg? Well, let's get cracking. And you can afford to lose one ear. You've got two of them. Same goes for your eyes. You know, I was in the mood for ribs. She could use a nice splash of purple. It gives off such a nice, rotting vibe. We've got our own Labubu zombie. So all you robots better beware. Things sure get spooky here in Sprunky Town. I just knew we should have went to Spunky Town. Well, while we're here, we might as well play the pyramid. Check out the pyramids inside. Look, it's Orin. And it looks like she's in good company. Don't you just hate it when someone gets under your skin? Of course, Oaxis will see our side soon enough. See? He's already embracing his dark side. Pretty soon, he won't be the only one. Orin knows it's best to keep an open mind. But we can always reuse these parts. Jeepers creepers, time to add some peepers. Don't worry, the heat will cauterize everything. Well, almost. Does anyone have a napkin? Still, now there's plenty of room for some fresh new organs. And now it looks like ribs are on the menu. Oh, it looks like Ratty wants to say hi. But now it looks like he needs to split. No bones about it. Still, let's help him get the point. Ooh, ouch. He could use some color, like a nice coat of green. Red and green just pair well together. I think Simon needs a little privacy. But we've got to keep on schedule. Besides, don't you want to show everyone your new smile? Anyone in the mood for pasta? You know, Simon always wanted to be a Cyclops. Of course, they usually have at least one eye. Veneria could use a little haircut. How about a new do? And maybe some eye surgery. Hair's not the only thing that gets extensions. And we don't just mean eyes either. Looks like someone's got a big mouth. Now for teeth. Ooh, anyone up for a bite? Hey, Pinky, how about a makeover? What you need are some seashells and clay. Let's add eyes. Of course, you only need 2. And who says mouths can't be vertical? Almost done. Just need ears. Come on, Sky. Open wide, like at the dentist's. Careful about dribbling. Now for a little trepanning. Are things too bright in here for you? Try on some shades, but you still want to see. You're never fully dressed without slime. Everyone sure looks spooky, kooky, and altogether ooky. So how about a little before and after to finish things off? Kangaroo versus Transformer. Wow, you knocked his block off. Careful, Roo's got friends in some high and low places. Of course, it's anyone's fight in the end. Don't forget, Hippo plays the winner. Looks like we'll need new parts and a whole new zoo. Of course, the aquarium can be fun too. These pinchers could use some extensions. Grab some broken toys for a few spare parts. Now things are about to get really wired. You can never have too many pinchers. He's ready to rumble, or hit the disco, whatever comes first. Now it's your turn. Think of it like one big puzzle. Well, that's one way to build somebody up. Wow, look at the muzzle on this guy. But a croc doesn't have to be too scary. In fact, why don't we add all sorts of colors? Yeah, go from crab to mantis shrimp, just like that. Now this brings new meaning to Four Eyes. Grab some wires for a brand new exoskeleton. Cover with foil and add a matching tail. Now let's just add a few final touches. And you know who could use some arms. Much better. The red's nice, but a croc needs some scales. Fill up every nook and cranny, even around the arms. Besides, we'll still have plenty of red, just in your mouth. Plus some white teeth and blue lipstick. Wow, guess this guy really is blue. Dabba dee, dabba die. Still, we could always use a splash of green, too. Don't like the color? Well then, just paint over it. You're almost done. Just add a few more pieces. Of course, slow and steady sometimes wins the race. Yeah, you really want to get the drool just right. And those boils looking their bloodiest. So, are you guys ready for a rematch? Careful, I'd avoid those teeth. Didn't I tell you? Well, your Transformers all in pieces. Next time, a little hot glue might help.
Huh? Huh?
Hey!
Huh? Wow.
Wow! Hey!
I think someone's feeling anxious. Looks like anxiety's working overtime today. Here, try this inside-out pack. Cut it open. There's a bunch of mystery packs inside. Well, let's pick out the first one to open. Oh, there's a little anxiety inside. We need to get her back in Riley's head. It's always good to keep an open mind. Now we can make an office for the emotions. We'll need a wall and some shelves. Open another pack. It's a coin.
Yes!
Let's use it to buy some gumballs. Try to win as many as you can. Next, we've got marbles. Time to fill up those shelves. A fresh coat of paint will help liven things up. Yeah, it's nice, but kinda empty. Grab some styrofoam. We're gonna carve out a control panel. Just make sure it fits right inside. Now, we need to make the cover. Carve out the grooves and add some paint. Now, it's gonna need some buttons and levers. Use stick-on gems and old sewing needles. Add a lot. After all, emotions are complicated. It's not just for show. Attach a battery below. Connect it to some wires and mini lights. Now we can light up Riley's mind.
Oops.
Think we can find Anxiety some teammates? Not sure what that is, but it's making him angry. Well then, we can always customize it. We can just make our own emotions. Complete with a backbone. Cover it up with clay. We can even add some fingers. She's gonna need a dress. Oh, it's starting to look like Joy. And just like that, she's ready for the office. Let's see who's next. This block eraser's already reminding me of anger. Pretty soon, we're gonna start seeing red. He's gonna need a suit to show up at the office. Looking at these surprises, I'd be crying too. Still, we can make something out of these pieces. Of course, she might start feeling a little blue. Draw her a new face. She's gonna be our new sadness. There's just one thing she's missing. A tiny pair of her very own glasses. Now put Riley's scalp back on top. Of course, we can always take a look inside whenever we want.